exciting weekend of actual beat baseball games, Seth Dog.
Think the music came in so nicely last time with the beat, the beat ball blues show. I'm thinking Frank might have a challenge with your new with your singing introduction, Neil Dog.
Nah, Frankie's man. That's why I don't even mess with him anymore. I just send the show, he sends it back, and I check it out. I need to know what we're putting up before I put it up, so I listen to the beginning and I listen to the end just to make sure it's
right,
what I think. Yeah. But outside of that, I just give Frankie free reign and he takes care of all of it. We never talked about it, but if you remember, before the last show got posted, I reached out. I sent you a text like, you're gonna love what Frank did to the show, and I don't know if I assume you picked up on why I was saying that. You're a fan, like with sitcoms, of always having a studio audience. So when he added in the studio audience, like, so Dog's gonna love that. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I didn't know it was coming.
The Beat Ball Blues show was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Exactly right. Man,
live on tape.
Sorry about that.
I just said live on tape from the Ed Sullivan Theater. That's what Stephen Colbert has been saying this whole time or that's what he always says, live on tape. Live on tape. Neil, we are live on tape, Neil Dog. We are
live on the intranet, Seth Dog.
We are professionals.
Son.
We are professionals, man. Professionals, man.
I guess before I introduce our guest, before I forget for a second time, I will tell our sighted audience two things. One, we won't know if it becomes unfrozen, but for some reason Seth's camera is frozen, but his audio is working, so we didn't care. We went forward. And a note on myself, if my goatee looks incredibly out of whack, I apologize. I was getting ready, taking a shower, shaving, and thinking about the tournament, and I got carried away. And usually when I cut my goatee, I like to keep it thin normally, Seth, but if I go a little too close to one edge or another, like I want to balance it out, so I just keep going more. I don't know if it's balanced. It looks thin as heck, like I just started growing about 5 minutes ago. So I apologize. Go ahead.
You could be setting blind people back, decades with the crooked goatee and stuff like that. It's like, man, what's wrong with that guy, man?
Sorry, the goatee and shaved head, not for blind folk. So I butchered. Normally I try to balance it out, but I just realized I was taking too long on it. I had to go. So
you should have just taken it off, Neil Dog. Just taking it off, man. Go with a full.
That's too much skin. With me shaving my head, that's just too much skin. I don't want to be mistaken for something that I'm not. Mr. Richie Flores has joined us from the just crowned champions of the Bowling Brook tournament in Chicago. The San Antonio Jets went 4-0. Richie, a friend of the show and a member of the Jets, is here. What's happening, Richie?
Hey, Neil Dog. What's up, Bam Bam? Good to be here, man. Yeah, nothing like a good shave after a long weekend of beat baseball, man. I think that's one of my favorite things is, you get back from 2 days of beat baseball, all the games are over, all the awards are given, all that kind of stuff, and you take that long shower and just shave it all off, and it feels so good after that. And then you get a good nap in, and you wake up and you start watching the games again, and start reviewing how we did this weekend. So I'm glad to be here, break it down with you guys. It's been awesome.
Back in the day, my dog's days, I never would shave during the World Series, that entire week or whatever. But in my Heat days, I couldn't keep that tradition. I couldn't keep the tradition going.
I didn't know that.
My beard turn is gray. You know, and so I was like, man,
So's
I can't
mine.
do that. Yeah, right.
I'm not.
I was like, I can't do that, man. I shave my face every day, my head and my face every day at the World Series.
I'm sorry. I can't claim gray. I believe mine's more white. It started out dark, and then I was getting salt and pepper, and now I don't ask anymore because I especially like the chin area, I believe is mostly salt. The last words my mom ever said to me, this goes back like 6 years or whatever, but it actually is a cool memory for me. But she had been in the hospital and she wasn't doing well, and it was in the last couple days, and the whole family was out in the hallway talking, and I was just in the room standing by the bed, and I thought she was asleep, and out of nowhere, and I swear on my life, these are the last words she ever said to me: "That beard of yours is almost all white now."
I was an old man, Mom. I was an old man.
It just came out of nowhere, like she hadn't been talking for hours. It's literally like, I mean, she was alive for a couple more days. I never heard her say any more words. Even like sometimes when I tell that story, people like take it like sad. That's a good memory for me. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have like picture, you know what I mean? Like for blind people, like we hang on to different things, I think, and having those last words and it being funny and out it's so random. So no, that was
she didn't say, "You're such a disappointment."
Well, that came a couple days earlier, and a few years before that.
Those weren't the last words, but you know.
Going back to the whole thing with Richie, because I haven't played in a tournament in 12 years now, and I've forgotten about that part, because that was something like a lot of our team did it, the Dogs, but Seth and I were religious about it, and we stopped shaving on like Sunday before, like when the tournament started, we wanted to look a little ragged already, and we played deep to Friday, Saturday every year, so we had a good week, thank God. Man, we had Andrew Green on the show. Remember, Seth? And he talked about like he's like grown out his all his hair on his head, his beard. Like he's a full on like ZZ Top member or something. It sounded like that he won't shave off, I don't think, until the tournament's over this year or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't grow a beard, right? My beard only gets so long. I can't grow like a full beard, and so it just gets to the itchy stage. And it's just a pain in the ass. So I decided no more, man. Once I was with the Heat, it's like no more, man. That's a tradition that died with the Dogs.
That Richie story reminded me of something I totally forgot about, and you put me in total shock. I never thought you'd give up that tradition. So Richie, man, your team is a team that Seth and I talked about last weekend. Kind of like a little preview of this tournament, a recap of last tournament. The Jets are kind of that wild card that we kind of have expectations out of, but didn't know what we were going to see. And you guys showed up this weekend and got the job done, man. What was working for you guys?
Well, I guess number one, we had the Ricky Castaneda come out of the. He came out of the beat ball closet, as you will. He came to the show. He's a legitimate defender now on our team. Rick got the MVP defensive. We had David Smith. Just a few.
He was number. He was number two.
Number two.
Number two on the offensive team.
Axel hit the ball for a change all weekend. He's on the offensive. Axel. Zack Arambula played some defense for a change, and he's on the defensive award. So it's like we had four guys, do unexpected things, and when that happens, everything was clicking. Kevin was pitching. We scored probably, in 4 games over 80 runs, so things were good. We're down a few starters, but we I mentioned.
How many?
We were down Aaron Arambula. Aaron Almanza. That's the guy from Dallas. Zach's cousin, probably 20 runs in the last 2 or 3 World Series, and Will Lopez, another 20 runner at the World Series. So we're down those 2 starters.
Dude, I got to tell you something. Neil texted me, God, it's Saturday night. He's like, man, I don't even know what time the championship game is this morning, right? And I'm thinking, like, man, there's no championship game. I heard DB say that the Thunder won't play the Jets again until the World Series or whatever. And I'm like, there is no championship game. And then it hit me. It's like, oh, the Thunder's not in the championship game. And I was so used to the Thunder always being there, man. I was blown away. But I watched you guys. I watched several of your games this week, and you guys look all right, man. You guys look all right. Those 3 strikes didn't seem to hurt Kevin at all. I think we should go to that as a regular thing for those greatest pitchers in the NBBA. Maybe 3 strikes for those guys, because that didn't hurt you or Jared at all, man. I was blown away.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they made that decision when they had to cut the games due to lightning for a little bit, and they, that's another thing. Hats off to JT Herzog,
Absolutely,
for getting all the captains together and the coaches to make a decision and say, hey, if the lightning clears, we got to be out of here by 6. But maybe we could resume the games at 4:30, but we'll have to move to 3 strikes and no balls, stuff like that. And everybody agreed. And that's what we went to. And, we were playing the Thunder. So we both teams, we weren't too afraid of it, since we have 2 of the top tier pitchers. And, but I do think it probably hurt some of the lower level teams.
Did you hear that at the tournament? I didn't watch any of the other games at that point in time. If in your conversations with other people, did that have an effect? Or
I don't think anybody really brought it up. After, and there was some talk that it might have been, if that they were going to carry on the 3 strikes into the Sunday morning games, but that was turned over this morning when there's no rain, there's no lightning. It was a sunny day, so they said let's just resume as normal. But so nobody really talked about it. But I know there's a new team, the South Georgia Copperheads. It was their first tournament, and they didn't score many runs at this tournament. And I bet if we look at their third game on Saturday, I bet it might have affected them. And I know Chicago, they're a growing team right now, a rebuilding team. They talked to me a little bit. Kalari mentioned to me a little bit that they had some strikeout problems this weekend.
All right.
Yeah, they made a really good showing last week, and I was impressed with Chicago. And they didn't do as well this weekend, but I was impressed with the showing they made last week. And when to your point on the 3 pitches affecting teams, I mean, any of us have been around the sport for 5 minutes, that the hardest thing for new teams to get is a good pitcher, or get experience pitching.
Right.
So if they're going to cut from 4 strikes down to 3, that's always going to hurt the pitchers that don't have the experience yet, because they're already struggling to make contact.
Yeah, right.
It's only
right.
They want to go to 5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They need to go back to the old days.
Hey, since Richie just brought them up, because I'm intended to do this shout out to South Georgia for playing in their first tournament. And I would like to, I should have talked to Seth about this first, but I'd like to invite them on here. I'll try to reach out to them in the next few days, but I'd like to try to get them on next week and learn about this new team, because they're going to be playing at the World Series. I wanted to say this at the beginning of the show, because I think it's a really cool thing. The list of teams that are participating in the World Series this year is 20, and I counted it up. 12 of those 20 teams have been featured on this show in the last year. And 3 more of those teams have been represented. Like, we haven't done a show featuring the Heat the Tigers or Lone Star, but we've had members of their team on the show. So technically 15 of the 20 teams have been represented on this show. And we got, I think like 6 more Sundays coming up. And I know we got some stuff planned already, but I think it would be cool if we try to hit as many of the teams we have out of the 5 we haven't hit. Try to get them involved. So, South Georgia.
We got to remember, we got to bring my heat on, man. Got to bring my heat on. Got to bring my brothers on, man.
All right,
family on.
Just throwing stuff out there, but we need to start organizing it because we're running out of Sundays before the World Series. So, shout out to South Georgia, and hopefully we could get you guys on for next week. On the tournament this weekend, and you talked about not having some starters or whatever. I mean, look, the Thunder came in. Erik Mazariegos called me a couple times on Saturday, and we talked probably almost during the entire lightning when you guys were on the delay. And at that point, you guys were playing the Thunder. It was early in the game, and I think during that time that postponement, wasn't the score only 3-3 or 2-2? It was
definitely early in the game. I mean, we were probably second inning, Yeah.
No, that's why it was early in the game, and it was still close. And I mean, Erik and I maybe I shouldn't tell him what we were sure, but we're both in agreement. Look, the Thunder were way down this week as far as players. They didn't have the White brothers, I don't believe. They haven't had Gerald Dykes. They haven't had Zack Bueller at all. Miguel Tello, I don't think played this weekend. So in my mind, if somebody didn't beat them this weekend, you guys aren't. Nobody's going to. Not just the Jets, but you know what I mean? It's no disrespect to any of the teams that were there. But if the Thunder can't be beat when they're missing that much firepower, they can't.
With 2 starters, yeah, right. If they can't be beat with just 2 starters, right, they can't be beat, right?
I mean, I would say, because Adam Rodenbeck and Kyle Lewis are part of their main. They have 8 players that play a ton, and so they had 4 of those, and they have, you know what I mean, they made a good showing. I mean, this is not taking anything away from them or anybody beating them, but I mean, I figured you guys, the Jets, the Edge, anybody like the Blackhawks, any team that wants to beat them at the World Series, I would, just for confidence, you got to beat them when they don't have these players. I mean, am I way off base, Richie? Do you agree?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think Austin ended up beating them this morning, right, for 3rd.
Yeah, they did.
So I mean, Austin's a solid team that plays defense really well, and they hit the ball pretty well, and to a team that's down, 4 starters, 5 starters. Yeah, that's hard, man. And and one thing I noticed too is they also played around with the defense a little bit. Erik usually plays shortstop. When they were playing the Jets,
when he played
moved
deep
him
left
to center field
or center. Okay.
I think left center.
Well, no, I think you're right. Where Tyler normally plays, correct? Didn't they have him against you in that spot? And I think there was a game on Saturday where I thought he was in deep left field.
So they played with it a little bit, but
right.
It is difficult. Again, Erik Rodriguez plays beat ball really well, and so he took home the he was the offensive MVP, which JT says that they should just permanently put his name on that, since he wins it all the time. But he showed up. Tyler showed up. Kyle was there. Kyle was MVP offensive for the World Series, but 2 or 3 years ago. So they had some firepower still, but definitely down on their defense was different. And
it does, and it affects your lineup, right? I mean, when you don't have at the bottom of your lineup, when you are main. I only watched a few of the games, so I don't want to be I'm pointing anybody out because I don't know their names or whatever. But when you're at the bottom of your lineup and you're getting put out, that puts a lot of pressure. Like if you're getting those 2 automatic outs, well, hell, right? I mean, the other 4 players have to be perfect, else you're only gonna score 3 runs an inning. right? And that hurts you. And they definitely
it certainly changes the dynamics from what you normally get against them.
Them, right? Exactly. I mean, most teams deal with that. Most teams deal with that. Right?
They have 6 people that hit like average over 600 or something crazy. Exactly. So like they don't have somebody turns over the lineup. The whole lineup turns over the lineup normally.
Yeah.
So, you know, and again, that I mean, it's understandable they're not going to be at full strength every tournament. But my thought yesterday, and I was just happy for your team just to see you guys respond to that. Like it's like you guys, you have to put them away today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, the Jets knew what we had in front of us, but our main focus was to win our first out of state regional tournament. We've never won one yet, and we did that, and then also to really face the Edge because they were at full capacity. We wanted to see what that looked like and how we would match up.
It's easy to forget you guys aren't, because you guys, a lot of you were with the Blackhawks, whatever, and Kevin's with you, been around forever. So it's easy to forget you guys are only like 5 years old as a team, and so congratulations on winning your first regional. The Dogs have still not won their first regional, so you guys are years ahead of the Dogs already. So
Travis, you're years too late. I'm sorry. Nobody even remembers that commercial. But I
have no idea what that
it's so crazy. I mean, it seemed to be like the biggest commercial. It was a Levi's commercial back in the early 80s. Travis, you're years too late. And I repeat that to people, and nobody has any idea what I'm talking about. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to jump into the Edge a little bit, and kind of a combination of things because you talked about the,
Oh, can I pull us back to one negative little thing and just one ironic thing that I heard as it relates to our last episode and all that. I listen to the Thunder stream most of the time when I'm listening to the games, and Lisa and DB get into a conversation about, I don't know, somebody complained about Tyler Rodriguez, I don't know, shooting at the bases, making a gun.
Oh, yeah, yes,
you're right, and that is what it is. Whatever. But I heard DB said, say, I'm offended by people who get so easily offended. And I just laughed. Who are you? I laughed, man. I laughed. So I'm sorry. I didn't. When I wanted to bring that up, when I heard it, I was like, man, we need to talk about it. I just need to bring that up real quick, but we can move on to the other thing.
What's been funny to me listening to last weekend and this weekend is so much of that really was just because some trash talk went on that got taken the wrong way, whatever. But listening to these streams, because you're right on the team benches, and we're not the only ones that talk trash around beat balls. Dude,
I laugh because I'm like, man, I'm never like that on the bench anymore. I mean, now I'm grown up now, I got kids and stuff, but I'm listening to the people on the bench like, man, look at you guys. You guys are crazy, man.
I will say this for the benefit of the sport, fellas. Enough of, is it a girl at the plate? No, it's a woman. There are men and women playing this sport. A girl hit that? A girl scored on me? Come on, guys. It's time to grow up. Support the fact that we are a co-ed sport and we have women playing our sport. So no, it makes me embarrassed every time I hear the one at the plate's a girl. Yeah. Right. Yes. And then you'll be up, boy. I mean, how would that go over? Is there a boy at the plate when there's a grown man? It's just come on, be a little more respectful, fellas. It doesn't sound good. So, you were talking about how, like, when things, shift around, it affects your team. Like, if you don't have players, and you start shifting around, changes everything. And the Edge were fully manned this week, or is like they had as many of the players as I expect them to have, like, overall, like, what I mean? They've been shorthanded whenever they played over the last year, and
Yeah.
and Ethan Johnston was there. Nick Mulherin was healthy, and yeah, I noticed them like moving people around a lot. It seemed like they're still trying to figure out like where the pieces are going to go. And I guess even though I think they have like all the pieces, like they have enough pieces to do real damage, it makes me wonder if like they're going to put it together before now and then, like defensively.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, when you have players from, I mean, you guys dealt with it a little bit with the Dogs. I mean, I'm sure with some of the growing pains there, but I think they're trying to figure that out when they don't have everybody in town to have, an every weekend practice or a couple practices a month, and they have to fly people in from everywhere. It's kind of hard to develop all, that system.
Yeah.
And you usually get it with the games, right? So I think they're using some of these tournaments, and practice. But this is as close as they're going to get to having everybody in town. And but this is the strongest version I've seen of them. I don't know if this is the full version, but it definitely the strongest version I've seen of them. Kyle felt real comfortable offensively, with the bats there. But yeah, defensively they're still trying to figure it out. I know Marc Morris didn't play shortstop at all this weekend, and that was his main spot.
Yeah,
last year at least.
I mean, he's been an all-star there before. So that surprised me.
Ethan's here too, and that's one of his spots.
So
Ethan's a short guy, so
that's what I'm gonna say. So like I respect Ethan and Marc and Jason. I like the way Jason Dobbs plays like that middle center field area. Last year and this like last weekend in Indy, I thought he played well out there, and he played real well there last summer. But so like and Jacory. So in my mind, I'm someone who's arrogant enough to think I know something about defense, and I love the ideas of putting defenses together. So like I love like thinking of what I could do with Jacory and Marc and Ethan and these guys, but I'm not there to know like their real strengths and weaknesses. Like I know where I'd put Jason Dobbs. I don't know where I'd put the other three. So I'm not like judging what they're not doing. I guess I want to be clear on that. But I was thinking like the difficulty, because those four players I just named are all in different states. Right. And now they're mixing Nick Mulherin. Nick Mulherin made the defensive all-tournament team this weekend, and Marc Morris made the offensive all-star team. Like they're flipping roles.
Yeah, no.
Second week in a row for
there was a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's probably just them experimenting because they can't do it during the regular practice times and stuff like that. And I've always said that's one thing that the Thunder has. And the Jets have it also. A lot of teams have it, but it's one thing that the Thunder hold over a lot of teams is they all practice together every time. Yeah. And it's so hard to pull that team together, and again, I dealt with the Heat a lot because hell, I play for the Heat, but I'm from California. Bringing a group of people together and then trying to get that chemistry out on the field, especially, it's really hard. And this defense calls for you to be like communicative, know where other people are doing other people's assignments and stuff like that. So if you're not really comfortable with what everybody else is doing, you can't necessarily just play full out and just focus on getting the ball. So I can see where they can have some growing pains.
It ties into something like with both of you said, and it's the repetition, and the Thunder have that as a big advantage. That the Indy Edge have a pretty good sized group right there in their backyard, but they're also integrating, others that are big pieces. You know what I mean? It's not just filling
they're
out
not
their
just backups. Right. Exactly. They're not just filling out
their pieces. And so like they have a disadvantage to putting that all together. Speaking of the way teams are putting, going back to the Jets and how well they played this weekend, because one of the things I've talked about when talking about the Jets, either here or like in the beat ball stuff on Clubhouse, is just not knowing what they're doing. Like Richie, I had no idea what the team approach was going to be, even though Axel and I talk pretty often. I purposefully didn't ask him like before this week what your defensive approach was going to be, because I kind of wanted to take it in with the rest of the world. But you guys now have Zack Arambula playing at shortstop, and Ricky, who was the defensive MVP, playing in short right. Axel is playing that center area. And man, you guys seem to have developed a nice little triangle there. Both Zack and Ricky made the All-Star team. You said his last name, but I don't think anybody will know him if we don't call him Little Ricky or the new name I heard. I don't know how new it is, but all weekend I just hear Little Meat now.
Yeah,
Little Meat.
Yeah, Little Meat. Yeah, that we've been calling him Little Meat since he joined our team back in 2019, and he went to the series with us then.
Okay.
He was kind of a player, or not a kind of a player. He was a pretty good player for the Lone Star Roadrunners, and we poached him.
Okay.
He did pretty good in 18, and we're like, God, that kid's good. We should try to ask him if he wants to come from the minors. We like our.
Almost had to stop for a second, Richie. I started to say this earlier, and Seth was laughing. I know we were thinking the same thing. We're gonna get hammered for talking trash, and you're the one that's been talking all the trash, man. You've been firing shots.
I haven't said a single word.
Seth's gonna take all the credit for everything you said.
All right.
I'm not the big noise for no reason, man. People are used to it. I talk on the field too. They hear it.
Dude, today when I get ready for the show, I listened to Andrea's stream of the award ceremony. And Axel,
oh God, I was behind her, I think.
You're sitting right with them. And Axel Cox made the offensive all-star team along with D. Smith, friends of the show. They come walking back, and Richie's like, "Hey, nice. After 13 years, finally." Axel was like, "Dang, dang. These guys are cold."
It's jet life, man.
Now,
you got to take it.
Go ahead, Seth.
As I was actually listening to the tournament, I was wondering how really representative are these tournaments? Because I'm Bayou City Heat, and I'm watching the Heat, and they they don't have their starting lineup necessarily as I projected. I don't know what it is because I'm not there, but they don't have their starting lineup in any one game, right? I can see that they're splitting them across the different games. And it started to make me wonder, and then, seeing how, the Thunder were down players and the Jets were down players. It's like, how representative are these teams to what you would actually see on Thursday, right? Or Friday, where these same teams are playing at full strength. Maybe not full strength, but you know what I'm saying. They're not holding anything back. If somebody's there, they're there. They're in. So I was just looking at the scores and the results, and I was just glad. I mean, it seems like that people play around with their lineups, and it kind of gives a false sense of what's actually going on, or how prepared a team might be for the actual tournament. Or you think?
I agree, man. I agree. I mean, and one thing, I heard, some different teams talk about it, and even the Jets, we've experienced it, and even the Thunder, to be honest with you, nobody's having regular practices right now. It's hard to have it. I think some of the new teams are trying. I think Atlanta seems to be meeting pretty regularly, but there's a ball crisis a little bit. A lot of people don't have balls right now to even practice with. So, I think that was one thing that we had going for us, is that we had a lot of batting practice. And so we showed that this weekend, but like Bayou City, for example, you know, that was one thing too. I was like, what are they going to bring? I know Tanner's coming, you know, I know Blake's coming. I know Daryl's coming. Right. You know, but yeah, I didn't know what Bayou City was going to look like at all this year. I don't think anybody did. And I think they wanted to, you know, kind of play around with things too and see, you know, give some of their rookies. They had a couple new people and, you know, so.
Man,
yeah, I'll say as the Bayou City Heat, they are in transition, right? I mean, if you look at it, and I'm old, so I don't want to compare myself to a Ja'Cory or a Joe or anything like that. But you know, we were big parts of their lineup. Me, Joe, Ja'Cory, and we're all gone. You know, and so it's it's a team kind of in flux, and you kind of saw that out on the on the field this last week. And so I'm not, you know, they didn't necessarily look. I mean, the scores looked kind of ugly, but I'm not necessarily thinking that that's going to be where they're at 6 weeks from now when they're really doing it.
A shout out though to a heady play to call out Justin Holland, the home run hitter from last week.
I came into tonight intending to ask you about him because you played. Justin Holland's one of the guys that hit a home run last weekend. Seth, he played. Right. He plays for the Atlanta Chaos, and Richie played with them last week. So yeah, tell us about Justin Holland. We don't know anything about him. Tell us. Man,
he has a pretty good golf swing, perfect for Fonzie. You know, but you know, he's a really cool story, man. I had dinner with his dad. His dad drives a big old F1 550 on diesel truck, and they drive from you know, somewhere in North Carolina, kind of near the Georgia border there, to all the different beat ball events. And he went blind maybe, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, and they found the closest team was Athens Timberwolves at that point. I think he hit a home run with their pitcher back in 18 or 19 at the World Series, and then joined the Atlanta team, you know, in 19 when Athens kind of folded during the COVID stuff, and hit a home run last week at the tournament off of Cortez Hill. And you know, I was kind of crossing my fingers to see if he'll hit one off of Fonzie. He got close, man. I'll tell you what, another switch rolls. You know, if they wouldn't have hired gun to Justin Holland, he made a lot of their putouts this weekend.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, no. He would be a good addition to the Heat. No, I'm not. You know.
hey. I don't start that rumor here, man. He needs to be the Chaos. He's a big addition to the Chaos right now.
Yeah, right. Hey, I was gonna say he would be a good addition to the Heat, but I cannot endorse poaching players as some on this show.
Seth gets accused enough, so we can't go down that road. But you know, I was thinking as Richie's talking about it, it's like, you know, it's one thing for a new player to come in and have a pitcher like Tim or Jared helping you get home runs. I mean, this cat's hitting it off pitchers that don't have that much experience, man. So, obviously, this dude's a legitimate threat at the bat, and it sounds like at the plate too. I mean, I'm sorry, in the field too. Sorry, in the field too.
Yeah, he's growing in that confidence on defense, man. That's what's cool, man. I mean,
that was kind of cool.
He loves the game. You know, I think so.
That was kind of cool about this weekend with the all tournament team, like. Brandon Chesser, who normally is known for his bat, made the alternate team on offense and defense. He and Erik Rodriguez both made it on offense and defense. Like I mentioned though too, like Marc Morris, you know, making the offensive team for a second week in a row, and they finally get Nick, their big bat back, Mulherin, and that dude makes it on the defensive team. Shout out to Evan Van Dyne. He hasn't been on the show yet, but we had the Millers on the team, and we had his dad on the team, so he had another big game. He has, I don't believe, played in games in like 2 years, so I was glad. Like that was the other side of it too, you know, like some of these teams like the Heat, they haven't played in 2 years. You know what I mean? The Millers haven't played in 2 years. It was cool to it's cool to get these teams that have been out because of COVID back in the mix. See them again.
the seemed like it was a perfect weekend to have new teams out there. Everybody get used to being back out there, man. In the wind, I was just sitting in my house listening to that game. It's like, man, I'm so happy I'm not out on that field. I am so happy, man. But you know, you could have hoped for a little bit better weather, but you know, otherwise that was you know, I'm sure everybody was fired up to get back there and play.
Yeah, I mean, it actually, you know, when it came down to it, it was hot for a while, right? But you know, coming from Texas, you know, it was nothing really for us.
No humidity.
right.
Thank God.
I mean, yeah. But then when the rain came, it cools everything off, right? So our hope was just stop raining enough for enough time for us to get the game.
Right.
Yeah. We're in the third game, so we just need to finish the third game so we don't have to. You know, there was talk about resuming third game at 6 a.m. on Sunday. I'm like, no, like, come on, man.
You don't want to do that.
The Jets don't go to bed until like 4:30. That'd be pretty difficult. So,
right.
I have not at any point seen like all the scores posted. If I am able to catch them, I will absolutely add them to like part of our post of posting the show, like I did with the Indy Bonanza tournament. But I do have like the final standings and the all tournament teams. They will be posted. The final standings of the 8 teams that played this weekend are San Antonio Jets and Richie Flores finished number 1. They beat the Edge in the championship game. Number 3 was the Austin Blackhawks. Number 4 was the Indy Thunder. The Heat that we were just talking about finished 5th. The Chicago Comets 6th, Minnesota Miller 7th, and the new South Georgia Copperheads came in 8th. But I don't know. Overall, I thought it was a good tournament. I will say, from a coaching standpoint, there's something I would be disappointed in if I was the coach of the Edge and of the Jets watching the championship game. And with the Edge, obviously, just the slow start. You know what I mean? It was a big game. They had kind of a signature win against Austin, a really solid win against Austin on Saturday. And I felt like they really needed to come back and try to match that, not try to, but match that, at least in effort against you guys today, Richie. But that the slow start, which is something they were kind of guilty of a couple times last year, really did them in. But on the flip side of that, if I'm the coach of the Jets, like, man, one thing that I believe Seth and I are in agreement on, mate, once you get someone down in the 12-run rule, man, you got to step on that neck and close it out. You know, you can't, not that you were ever threatened, like losing the game or whatever. But like, as the game went on, it felt like the intensity of the defense, let up a little bit. And I don't know. That's something that we struggled to learn, like as a young Dogs team, how to really close teams out. Yeah, and it's so important.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, and that's one thing from Lupe. He said, Lupe, veteran, played with the Dogs, played with the Hawks, played, 27 years. He's always like, that's the hardest thing to do is be the team that closes it out, strong. And, it's something, like you said, Zack playing shortstop for the first time for a whole regional tournament.
Right.
We everybody missed the ball. Everybody missed. I think, I definitely missed one in that game. The one that was supposed to be a gimme, I missed it. Ricky, who was perfect yesterday, missed one or two today. And it all happened. And Kyle can get hot, and that team can hit hard. Marc Morris, there's a big joke that, he hits the perfect 43-foot ball.
Yeah, I heard
right?
you make that joke when he went up to get his All-Star trophy today on the live stream. Trash talker.
But
this guy Richie hammers everybody, man.
Marc Morris was crushing it, though, man. He was hitting 120 in the air, over Zach's head,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Morris has really good speed, right?
He was in their 6 hole, and that's another thing. He got on the offensive in the 6 hole, and He's fast, dude. Yep.
Yeah.
Under 5, pretty sure.
Well, it was cool, man. I don't know. I've had fun listening to the games. The Ames tournament is what, in 2 weeks?
Yep.
You know the date of it? All right, so in 2
I'll be
weeks.
there. It is on the. It starts on a Friday. It's kind of interesting. You're gonna have a under the lights 7:00 opening game for all the teams. 7 p.m.
Okay.
On Friday night, and then they're gonna play 3 games on Saturday with the championship game. Yeah, the championship game being played, I guess, at 7 p.m. or something like that.
All right.
Actually, under the lights again.
For us at home on the West Coast, that works out kind of cool. I don't really dig getting up at 5, 6 in the morning for beat baseball personally, unless I have to.
Yeah.
I got no problem with it, actually.
Right.
I've found it to be
true.
entertaining. It's like, oh man, there's beat ball. It was funny because it was Saturday morning. It's like, I got to wait till 8. It's like, no. I can click on the beat ball right now. I can go listen to the Heat right now. What are you talking about?
That's true. Seth has always been an early riser, so the 5 a.m. It's like, oh, cool, something to do other than watch the news.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be welcome. Are the Jets going to the Ames tournament? Or are you playing with Atlanta?
No, I'm going to play with the Philly Fire.
Oh, okay.
This one, I'm wearing 3 different jerseys in 1 month, man. It's gonna be fun, man. I'm digging ball this summer.
Why are you doing all that? I mean, I know you like to play, but why jump? Is it just that the Jets aren't going, or what's the? How do you get on Atlanta and the Jets and the Philly Fire all in the same month? How does that happen?
I got friends. I got friends in all the areas. I've always kind of been I'd like to talk to different teams. I have a friend pretty much on every team. I would say so.
Richie is a social butterfly in the blind community. They're NFB sports. It doesn't matter. Everybody knows Richie.
Actually,
and I like to play ball.
Not even just in the blind. You're from the Bay Area, right? I mean, you live in the Bay Area, Richie, right?
Yeah, I work for Berkeley, right? So I've been working remote.
My boy picked you up in a cab a couple times years ago, and I'm like, Richie's all over the place.
You moved here for work. You're from Texas, aren't you?
Yeah, born and raised in Texas, but I've been in the Bay Area since 2016, and started working at Berkeley in 2018. So I think hit 4 years there now.
My boy Marc's like, man, do you know this guy named Richie? Like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. I know that guy.
That's so funny. I'm thinking, it's like, man, I don't even realize Seth goes to the Bay Area enough anymore to know cab drivers. Like, oh, duh, Marc, our friend. Yeah. Oh, yeah, him. I forgot. I almost touched on this earlier, and we went on, but when you were just asking Richie like how he ends up playing on all these different teams, like even going back, like to the 90s when the only like real big regional tournament was the Oklahoma City tournament. That was a 18 tournament every year, and like teams did that then. Not like none of these teams go in with everybody, you know what I mean? Right. Like, and sometimes you just need people to fill out your. Danny Fapiano played this week, and I think mostly because Austin needed like another body out there. I don't think he's coming out of retirement. Should follow up on that, but you know what I mean? Like that's why Justin Hoffman, is that his name? Sorry,
Justin Holland.
Sorry, I'm terrible with
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, I knew that wasn't right. I was like, Justin Hoffman doesn't sound like a home run hitter. That doesn't work. But like that's why Holland ended up with the Heat. Mike Coughlin was out with hanging out with the Jets this weekend.
Yeah, we picked up a player too. Yeah,
I went in 1994 because we, as a team, felt not being at the regional tournaments that we were kind of behind on like knowing our competition as well as they knew each other. So Don Robinson and I traveled to the Oklahoma City regional tournament simply to scout. And I mean, I wasn't sitting in the bar a half hour before I was on the Oklahoma City roster. You know what I mean? I ran into Hoodlum and Clint Woodard, and they're like, what? you're at a tournament not playing? No. So, guys, I got no cleats. I got nothing. No, you're playing. No, okay. So, I mean, you show up at these regional tournaments, somebody's going to take you because they're like 7, 8 people anyway. So
Right.
I think that's how it all happens overall, just people want to play. That's cool, though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So if you got the time to do it, because we're gonna recap that tournament also in a couple weeks, you're welcome to come back, Richie.
Yeah, man. We'll have some fun. It's gonna be a nice one. I think Ains is always they're really hospitable out there. They've been, they're kind of sad that they missed us last year. So I'm sure we're gonna have a pretty good time. And I don't really know all the teams that are going, but this will be the Philly Fire's first real game action for sure. So
another team that was featured right here, Johnny Ma and the gang. We had a lot of fun with that crew. That was a fun show. I've got fun ideas with the shows that we've done with all the teams. I don't even know if I said that right. We've done a lot of shows with a lot of teams, and I have fun ideas of what to do with that between now and the World Series. We're going to have more on that coming up on following episodes. I need to talk to Seth about some of it before we launch any of what I want to do. However, there is one thing that I want to share. I won't share how we're going to do it because Seth and I need to decide that. But something I'm going to do as part of this wool drawing that they're doing that we were promoting last week. I originally told Faith Faith Penn that I was going to buy 20 tickets and just donate them to her to like hand out to like volunteers or something. You know what I mean? If somebody came along that helped them with the program, just like as a thank you gift, like, for Wool and TBBS. But I also realized all I really was doing was giving Faith Penn probably a job to do when she probably has a million other jobs to do regarding wool. So I figured this would be a good way to promote the fundraiser and make it part of the show. So I am going to purchase 5 tickets, and they are going to be given away from TBBS, but we are going to do it ourselves, Seth Dog, because I think you would agree that just makes more sense. So I would like to talk to you more during the week.
Like a COVID lottery?
Yes, but we are not going to call it that. I know that up front. But we're going to give them away here. So I am going to put up a 20 spot and give away 5 tickets. If anybody on the show wants to match that with me.
Here you are, Richie. It's your only time you're on the show, man.
Speak up, Rich. What we brought you on for.
Oh man, I'm always supporting always supporting the women of our league for sure. Yeah, no, is it only $20? Is that the match? Okay,
no, it's 5. Honestly,
he was throwing it out at me. I know.
He deferred.
I deferred.
Or if anybody wants to make a donation on behalf of the show, this is what. So what they're doing, Richie, is a $5 donation gets your name in the drawing one time, but a 20 spot gets you in for 5 tickets. So. I'm going to put a 20 spot down and give all 5 away to fans of the show. And if we throw in more money on top of that and give up more tickets,
I'm sure we can find another 20 somewhere around here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So if we go up more, I mean, I got thoughts that we could still just give out like individual, like tickets to like 5 people, and then give one big grand prize winner like 20 to 1. You know what I mean? We'll have options, but it sounds already like we're giving away at least 10 tickets to a drawing where you can win an Apple Watch 6 or some Beats headphones by Dre. They're Dre. Yeah,
Dre.
Dr. Dre. Man, there's too many artists with names too close, too similar. So, man, cool prizes, and we want to help Wool kind of promote that, and that I think will be a cool thing for us to figure out ways to give away entries from the show. So we will have more on that next week, and we hopefully are going to have the South Georgia Copperheads. They are officially invited. If not, we will find somebody else. But thank you, Richie, for joining us and helping us out. Hope we didn't hog the line too much, but congratulations to your Jets, man. You guys had a great weekend.
Yeah.
No, man, it was lots of fun, man. And just one more shout out to the Bowling Brook Lions for hosting the tournament. It was their 20th annual, and they just great hosts, and again, JT Herzog and Chicago too, the Comets, everybody. It was great. It was a great tournament, and we're looking forward to coming back next year to defend the title, right?
Thank you for mentioning that, actually, because I wanted to mention. I thought it was really cool, Seth, listening to the little like 15-20 minute award thing at the end, because everybody's got to travel back home. Sure. But they usually these tournaments, it's pretty common like that the winning team will get their registration paid for at the World Series, which is over $300. It's a significant prize. Every single team that played in the Bowling Brook tournament is getting their registration paid for the World Series, and on top of that, the Jets are getting $350, if I heard that correct. So
I think we got an additional 150.
Oh, an additional 150. That I don't always hear like everything like when people the crowd's applauding, but wow, so that's even better.
Yeah, no, that's what's really cool about the Chicago tournament. That if you win the title, if you win the championship, you win money, and if you even participate, you win money. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, so that's pretty common that all the teams get money at that tournament.
Yeah. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but I know that was kind of a cool thing about being part of the Chicago, being part of that invitational. That's why folks wouldn't give up their spots, because, a lot of times the Lions would reward them for participating in their tournament with some cash.
Yeah, no, that's too cool. Something JT said today, and during the ceremony, I guess it was his own father that started the tournament like 20 years ago, and the trophies they give out, I guess, aren't very big. That JT said, it's like, look, first place championship trophy isn't going to impress you. He's like, but my dad said, let's not spend the money on something that's going to sit on a mantelpiece and collect dust. Let's put that money in the players' pockets. And man, that's so cool. Not only that they had that attitude, but carried it so well for the last 20 years.
No, man. And the other tradition, that is also, I think, worth mentioning that, kind of hit home to me, because, they give you a good spread when you come in. You can have a beer and a sandwich and stuff like that on Friday night. But on Saturday night, they always have a really kind of in the hotel kind of banquet style, but they just bring all this kind of Chicago family style type of food. And that was something too that his dad and mom, JT's dad and mom set up. And now that they're both gone, he's carried on that tradition, and even his son and his wife basically bake, I don't know, 200 cream puffs so that everybody attending can have one. And it's the recipe from their mom and JT's, mom, their grandma, I guess. And it's pretty amazing. It just hits home on how, beat ball, can really pull at those heartstrings, that kind of stuff.
Definitely. Shoot, heartstrings. So you're pulling at my tummy strings. I want to go volunteer next year just to get in on all the fun, man.
Yeah, man. The cream puffs they're bomb, man. It's so good.
Well, shout out to JT and the whole organization for a well-run tournament always, and especially this weekend. We will let Richie get out of here and get some sleep. He's got to travel home tomorrow. I assume you going home finally, Richie? You going somewhere else now?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go back to the family and hang out in Texas for to the World Series, and I'll maybe do a little weekend in Ames, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, going back, working remote, hanging out, saving some money, that kind of stuff. But thanks for having me, Neil, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Both of us, please.
Yes, I'm here. You know, people do that all the time. Like, I ain't even here. Hey, you want me to make some jokes about you, Richie? I will. So you remember me.
I
can make some jokes so everybody knows my name. I could.
I did pretty good in the opening. I was, I knew I had to hang up, but
really
Bam Bam's my boy, and I appreciate both you guys, and man, and that's another thing too. I'll go out with this, man. Kudos to both you guys for keeping this kind of thing alive. From hitting over a year, I think, of shows, and you guys have kept beat ball relevant. For the last year when it was pretty hard to do. So both Bam Bam, Seth Clark, former Heat, former Dog, former. What else? Bay Area
Blaze.
He's Bay Blaze. Baby Blaze. Albany Cougar at the house.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it, because in the end, we're really proud of what we do with it. You know what I mean? We're having fun with something that we loved, and we don't want anything back from it. We're just having fun doing it. So
cool. Well, keep it up, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for your words. Hope we didn't give you any reason to sit. Oh, he's out. So, good night, Richie. He dropped the mic, yo.
Yeah, right. Like, damn, I'm out here.
Yeah, right. Well, now we can talk about him. He won't know what we said until he listens.
I'm a busy man. I got to get out of here. Man.
Awesome. That was fun, man. Yeah, thank you, Seth Dog, as always. Thank you, Frank Porter, and good night, Aunt Cindy.